Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My goal today is to help you understand everything you need to know about Mythic Plus. It is a complete beginner's guide. We're going to cover Mythic Dungeon locations, how to start a key, how to get a key, what recommended eye level you should be, and more. So hopefully this helps you guys out. I know there's been a lot of people coming back into the game or are brand new to the game, so I hope that's my goal for this video, to help you guys out. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and feel free to smack that like and subscribe button if you like the video and if I helped you out. So let's get right into it. All right, first thing, what's a Mythic Plus dungeon? Okay, so there's normal and heroic dungeons. Basically, normal is the easy mode, easier to complete, basic rewards for it. Heroic is a step above that, a little bit better rewards, more challenging, some more mechanics. And then you've got Mythic Zeros. Those are better rewards, a little bit more challenging, usually has more mechanics. And then there's Mythic Plus, which is a step above Mythic Zeros. What Mythic Plus does is there's these keys you can level up as you go. So basically, if you complete a key, you get to level up your key, and then you can go push higher keys and keep progressing. These Mythic Plus keys have modifiers, so the higher key you go, the more damage an enemy might do to you, the more health they might have, and then you'll get these affixes, which are we call them affixes, but they're modifiers. They can offer different mechanics for you to do. So like each time you kill a mob, your whole group will take damage from that. It will stack. So if you kill a bunch of mobs at one time, man, everybody's taking a ton of damage and you might die. Or there could be like volcanoes erupting or wind tornadoes circling around the enemies that you have to dodge. So it's a bunch of different affixes. They're super fun, super engaging. Mythic Plus has been my favorite type of content to do for as long as I can remember. They're a blast, and the higher key you progress in, the more rewards you'll get, basically. And we'll get a rewards here in just a little bit. So let's start with the next thing, how to get a key and start a dungeon. Alright, so there's a few different ways to get basically a Mythic Keystone, really just two ways, but a third if you use Lindormi here. But you need to complete a Mythic Zero, just complete it by the end, and it'll give you a key. Or you can do another Mythic Plus dungeon. So you could join someone else's pre-made group. If we find a group here, real fast, we could join a group, sign up. Once we complete the dungeon, if we don't already have a key, it will give you a key. This is what a key looks like. It even tells me what modifiers I have on it. So Tyrannical, Bursting, Grievous, and I'll get into the affixes here in just a little bit. But this is what a key looks like. So you can do it that way, or you can do a Mythic Zero. Make sure when you do that, you have your dungeon difficulty set to Mythic, whether you're running Mythic Plus or Mythic Zeros. If you have done a Mythic Zero, I believe, or Mythic Plus, and you're on another level 70, you actually don't need to complete Mythic Plus or Mythic Zero to get a key on that character. You can come to Lindormi here in Valdrakken, and if you talk to her, she will have like a little text here that says, I seem to have misplaced my keystone, and then you click that and she'll give it to you. So super simple, but that's how you get a keystone. Start a key, pretty simple. You want to make sure that your dungeon difficulty is set to Mythic. You'll know if it's not Mythic, there won't be a font of power here. If there is, then you're good to go. You want to drag, I have an add-on that basically puts my key in for me, but you would want to drag your key into the middle here. It'll show you what affixes you'll have to deal with and give you a brief description of what they'll do. Also show you the modifiers for how much extra damage or extra health the enemies will have. Standard practice when you're starting a key usually is you do a ready check for everybody, make sure they're good to go. And then you can also do a countdown for people as well. I usually only do countdowns for level 10 keys or higher, but that's completely up to you. For the Mythic Plus dungeon rotations, Blizzard's doing something cool where they're rotating old expansion dungeons back in with the new dungeons. So we've got 4 Dragonflight dungeons that are new and 4 older expansion dungeons that are part of this season. So for the 4 locations for Dragonflight dungeons, if you want to, by the way, to see what dungeons you have available for the first season, you go to Group Finder, you go to Mythic Plus dungeons, and you can see here what all the dungeons are. So for the first one, we've got Azure Vault. That is down here in the Azure Span. It's right here, the Azure Vault. On Aran Plains, this is where Knockhood Offensive is, right here. It's right in Marukai. We got Ruby Life Pools and the Waking Shores. Ruby Life Pools right here. And then in Thaldraszus, we have the last one of the Dragonflight Dungeons, Algathar Academy. For the other 4 dungeons that aren't the new Dragonflight Dungeons, but part of Season 1, you can actually come in here to Valdrakken, and right behind Lindormi here, so, you know, again, right here, where you can get your keystone. She'll have portals to actually each one. For a couple of these, actually for all of them, you do have to fly to the dungeon entrance, but these portals take you really close. So the first one will do Shadow Moon Valley for the Shadow Moon Burial Grounds. So if you take that portal right there, it would take you to Shadow Moon Valley, and the dungeon entrance is right there. Shadow Moon Burial Grounds for the Jade Forest. You click that, it'll take you over to Pandaria. the Jade Forest, and then there's the Temple of the Jade Serpent. And then for Dalaran, you can take that portal, and then it would take you over to the Broken Isles and Dalaran, obviously. Court of Stars is right here in this location where this Fleet World Quest is. And then the other location is in Stormheim, and it is right here for Halls of Valor. Next thing you guys need to know is how to level up your key. Okay, it is incredibly easy. All you need to do is kill all the bosses in the dungeon and get to 100% of enemy forces within the time limit of your key. If you do that, you level up your key. It's that simple, really. Enemy forces basically just means you need to kill 100% of enemies. Once you do that and kill the bosses, you level up your key. I have an add-on specifically, and I'll try to leave it in the description below, that tells me how long I have and if I wanted to +3 this key, how much time we have to do that. If I want to +2 it, how much time we have to do that. And if not, then it just, we level up the key as long as we complete it within the time limit. If you do not complete within the time limit, it's no sweat, usually, unless you're really trying to push, but you can still get loot at the end of the dungeon, so it is usually good to complete, but your key will go down by 1. So what I mean by that is we have a +7 Azure Vault right now. If we were not able to kill all the bosses and the enemy forces within that time limit, my key would go down to a +6 Azure Vault, and I would have to run back through it and then try to kill all the enemy forces and all the bosses within that time limit. Again, though, you can still get rewards even if you don't complete the dungeon within that time limit. Affixes, probably the thing that people are more confused about than anything else. So I'm just going to break down a few of the big ones. When they come into Mythic Plus play, and how important they are and what they do, but I'll also leave a link in the description below that will tell you what each one does. But when you start your key, it'll also break down whatever your key affixes have and what they do for you. First two big affixes are Fortified and Tyrannical. These are all for all Mythic Plus difficulties, so from +2 to +30, you will have to deal with one of these, and they rotate every single week. Fortified, non-boss enemies have 20% more health and inflict up to 30% increased damage. Tyrannical, bosses have 30% more health. Bosses and their minions also inflict up to 15% increased damage. This little chart here for you guys, so they rotate weekly. So level 2 and 3 keys, they'll have Fortified or Tyrannical. Level 4 and up keys will add in another affix, so it could be Raging, Bursting, Sanguine, and then level 7 and up keys will add in another affix, so it would be Quaking, Grievous, Volcanic, whatever it is for the week. So at level 7 and up keys, you have 3 affixes that are going to be in play every time that will rotate weekly. Once you get to 10 and up keys, they'll add in a seasonal affix, which will be there every single week, and it won't change. It changes every season, but for this season, it is Thundering. Thundering enemies have 5% more health, while in combat, players are periodically overcharged with primal power from rounds against Unending Storm. This power comes with great risk, and failure to discharge it quickly can have stunning consequences. Okay, so what this affix does, though, is it marks 2 or 3 players with a positive charge called Mark of Lightning, and then it marks the other 2 or 3 players with Mark of Wind, which is a negative charge. So whether you have a positive or a negative charge, though, when you have it, you get 30% increased damage and healing. So it is like a big buff when you have it. So really what you want to do is use it as much as you can during those windows, have the 30% increased healing and damage, right? You want to keep that up, and then make sure that you come into contact with the opposite charge. So if I had a positive charge, I would like to come into contact with a negative charge before that time limit is up. If it expires, it stuns you. I think it's like for 4 or 5 seconds, and it also does a damage basically over time for you. So it's important to cleanse those, but also to hold on to them for as long as you can. So let's recap real quick. If you're doing a dungeon that is +10 and up, you will have 4 affixes to deal with. The one that came into play at level 2 and up, the one that came to play at level 4 and up, and then the one that came into play at level 7 and up. And then obviously the seasonal affix at level 10 and up. So if you're doing +10 and up keys, you got 4 affixes to worry about, but you'll get practice and get them down. It may seem more overwhelming at first, but they're incredibly fun and engaging, and just practicing will help you get better at dealing with them for sure. For rewards for Mythic Plus, it's incredibly rewarding. They've actually increased it now, so if you're doing higher dungeons, you get better rewards. They didn't used to be as high as it was. Right now, so if we did a +2 or 3, at the end of the dungeon we get a 376 piece of gear, or a chance at that. And with the Great Vault, we might get a 3d2 or 3d5. If we're doing a +10, we get 392 piece of gear from the end of the dungeon, or have a chance to, and then you get a 398 piece of gear from the Great Vault. If you're doing level 20, you get 405 from the end of the dungeon, and then 421 piece of gear from the Great Vault. at the end of the week. All right, if you guys don't know what the Great Vault is, basically a reward we can get every week. It's in Thaldraszus, in Valdraken. This is the entrance right here. Basically, we get to pick a reward based off of what content we've completed for the week. So for raiding, PvP, Mythic Dungeons. For Mythic Dungeons, if you complete 1 dungeon, you get a reward. 4 dungeons, you get another reward. And 8 dungeons, you get another reward after that. So you can only pick one of those rewards, unfortunately, every week. But, you know, what you want to do is if you do complete 8 dungeons, you get more chances to basically fill in a slot for a piece of gear that you need a big upgrade for or something like that, or you really wanted it. Gives you an extra chance to get that. It does scale off of your highest dungeon. So let's say if I completed a +10 of a dungeon, 1 +10 of the dungeon, so my first reward would be scaled off of the +10. If I completed 4 dungeons, but the other 3 were, you know, based off, you know, let's say they were all +5 dungeons, then it would give me a loot based off of the +5, the lowest dungeon completed within that. If I managed to do, you know, 4 dungeons, and all of them were +10, then would also give me another chance at the +10 Great Vault reward loot. So basically, the higher dungeons you complete, and the more you complete every week, the higher chance you have to get a higher piece of loot in a slot that you'd want. More than others. The most common question in my last guides for Mythic Plus for Shadowlands Season 3 and 4 were what item level should I be to start Mythic Plus? There were a lot of new players coming in, so I'm going to give you kind of an item level that I would recommend depending on what key level you're doing. But just to let you know, this is just a rough estimate for people. But if you know your class well, you know what you're doing, you can push higher keys with less gear. You just can. For people that are not sure, they're stressed about it or anxious, you know, I'm going to help you out here. So to get started in Mythic Plus with low keys, so level 2 to 4, I would recommend somewhere around 360 to 370 item level. And then 5 to 9, I'd recommend 370 item level to 385. For 10 to 15 plus keys, I would do 385 to 400 item level at least. And then if you're trying to do 15 and up keys, I really try to be as high as you can. So I think the max is close to 420 for this season. But I would say around or above item level 410 would probably be good to be doing 15 and up. Obviously, the higher keys you go, you know, +20, +25, +30. Then, you know, it might be better to have as close as you can to max item level as you can, because they do get more difficult and it might be harder to get into some groups depending on that. But this is just a rough estimate, so, you know, you can give these keys a shot, you know, give it a go. If you're nervous about it or don't know your class quite as well, item level can help carry you kind of through some keys. So if you get more geared, and even you could be over geared for a key, just if you're nervous about it or you're not sure about the dungeon, it never hurts anything, that's for sure. Get geared up to start for Mythic Plus though. You know, I would say normal dungeons drop 346 gear, heroic drops 359 gear, Mythic Zero dungeons drop 372 gear, so that's a great way to just, you know, get geared up. If you do the Mythic Zero dungeons, they're locked weekly, so if you've completed it for the week on one character, you can't get rewards after that. Just to let you guys know. Dragonflight's also done a really good job gearing up in other ways, like World Quest. You can farm some rares, auction house, and crafting, and then you can even do raid or raid finder to get geared up for these Mythic Plus dungeons. Might be wondering how high you can push Mythic Plus keys. You can go as high as you can go. I'm not honestly sure how high they'll be able to be pushed quite yet. So far in the season, I think I've seen +22, +23 keys, but we're super early on. I'm sure we'll find out when the Great Push event happens, which I highly recommend watching it. It's incredibly fun. It's entertaining as heck. WoW does it on YouTube and Twitch. I believe they stream it on both. They have basically it's an event where a bunch of teams will compete to see how high they can do all the Mythic Plus dungeons. So, you know, last season they were doing like +32, +31, +33 keys. That is insane. That is so cool. Again, I'm not sure how high they'll be able to be pushed this season, but it's a super fun challenge. So to see how high of keys you can do and to get better at it, it's freaking awesome. So highly recommend checking that out. That's basically it, guys. You know, you should know the ins and out of Mythic Plus dungeons, how to get started, how to progress, all the basic information. But I'm also going to leave a description for the affixes and extra info about Mythic Plus dungeons that are on Wowhead in the description of the video below. So check that out. If you have any questions at all for me, leave them in the comments below. Let me know if this video helped you out. Let me know if it didn't. I also want to know. You guys have been amazing. The support has been unreal. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. I know I'm going to look back in like a month or two and I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, you know, we're past 1,000 and it's awesome. So appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving me. You guys have been amazing. Dreams are coming true, that's for sure. Hit that like and subscribe button if you like the content, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace!